Perfect. So today I have some really crazy intuitive stories that have happened to me in the last couple of weeks. And for any of you who know me or who followed and listen, I really teach through storytelling. We all have intuition, and sometimes we just lack confidence in our intuition. It's not for a select few. It's not, yes, it's a feminine quality, but for masculine and feminine, we all have both polarities within us. So it's about balancing both. And I'm very good at that balance. So I'm very receptive. I'm in my feminine. I receive this intuitive guidance, and then my masculine takes action very quickly, which is, action is the masculine and receiving is the feminine. So I wanted to share some examples of the last couple weeks that have happened to me that were so profound, and I just want everyone to know these stories. So it all started a couple of weeks ago, and there was this one day I completely just fell apart, completely crumbled. Like, I was so emotional. I was crying probably half of the day. That doesn't happen that often to me, but when I'm in a place of that much sadness, vulnerability, grief, I just surrender into it. And I was just really emotional that day, just crying. I couldn't stop crying. And so then I randomly received a text message from a real estate broker. I've referred some clients, some of my guests actually, to him. They've bought a house with him. He's an acquaintance, and I rarely speak with him. But he sent me a message and he said, "Hey, JD, I really want to invite you to a networking breakfast. It's this big event. It's like, $45 a ticket. I would never spend that to eat, some strawberries for breakfast. I would never do that." And so he goes, "I really want to invite you and buy a ticket for you." And that day I was devastated. I was like, there's no way I can show up, confidently, professionally in front of maybe, I don't know, 60 people. Because you need to really be at a really high energy when you're networking. People don't remember. I love Maya Angelou's quote is, people don't remember what you say, people remember how you make them feel. So at any networking event I go to, people will probably forget my 30-second pitch, but they're going to remember how they felt in my presence. And I was not in a good energy space and mindset. So I didn't even have energy to reply. And then I processed the emotions. I was really feeling better. I created better boundaries for myself, to really more self-care. Like, I just spent a few days taking care of myself. And one day I was out for a walk, and my life is very quiet and relaxed and slow. And so I was outside walking and by myself, and I received this intuitive message: go to this networking event and ask for help to sell your company. Because I have one company and I'm an entrepreneur. I have many projects. And I went, oh, and this is something that I've been keeping, I've really haven't shared with people in my network, in my local network, that I'm selling my company. But I received the guidance. And I was like, oh, this is going to be uncomfortable. It takes effort. I have to go, wear a dress, put on high heels, put on makeup, leave at 6 a.m. Like, it's effort, but I've, over the years, really, really honored my intuitive guidance. So I sent that acquaintance a message. I said, yes, I'll go. He goes, perfect. I'm so happy. I bought a ticket for you. So that morning shows up. And I'm like, okay, I'm guided there. So I was in a much higher energy. I saw a lot of old friends. I really got to share, update about my life, telling people I want to sell my company, where I'm at now today. It was great. And out of the whole room, I chose to sit beside one of my favorite humans. He's a therapist. I used to go to his workshops. I just love him. He's amazing at his work, and I chose to sit beside him because I just love his energy so much. So, I'm at the back of the room, and at the one point, we started to share. We each had 30 seconds to stand up and talk about our companies and sell our companies. And the first person at the front of the room stood up. I've never seen this man ever in my life. And he said, "Hey, everyone, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm actually here because I'm looking to buy a company." And I was like, yes, I'm here to meet that man. Yes, perfect. And it was just such a nice confirmation for my intuition. And I spoke, "Hey guys, I'm here, just I need help selling my company. If you know anyone looking for a company to buy, please contact me." So immediately after we spoke, we exchanged contact information. I had a meeting with him last week. But it was just such a nice confirmation of my intuition. And so after the meeting, I was speaking with friends, and this one person said, "Hey JD, how are you doing? How's your heart? How's life?" And I'm like, "Well, healing heartbreak and all the things." And he goes, "I've been thinking about you, and there's this one retreat that I think you would really love. I just think it was." Out of all of the wellness retreats I've ever gone to, this was the most amazing one. It really helped. I can't share, the activities that you guys do, but it's all about, it's a women's retreat. And then there's the other side for the men's retreat. And it was all in French. So it was really naturally out of my comfort zone because I usually go to retreats in English. And he goes, "There's 2 of these retreats a year. One is this weekend, and the one is this weekend, and the next one's in October. And I have no idea where I'm going to be in the entire world in October." So I went, "Wow, interesting." And then he goes, "Oh, and the therapist who I was sitting beside, this is his last one. He runs it. He's the one who's one of the facilitators." He goes, "He's been doing this for decades." He goes, "This is the last retreat he's ever going to do." And I was like, wow, this is, and in my agenda, I hold retreats and every weekend is full except for that weekend. I had that weekend off. It was completely blocked off and I had nothing to do that weekend. I was like, okay, this is pretty divine. So I contacted him and I said, "I'm interested. Does there happen to be another spot left?" He immediately called, "Yes, JD, there's a spot left. But it starts tomorrow." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "It starts tomorrow. I'll have one of the women facilitators contact you, ask you questions, make sure it's a good fit, all the things." So I spoke with 3 women the next day, or that same day actually. And I said, "Okay, just let me figure out my life. I need to find a dog sitter. I need to just figure out my life a bit for this weekend," because I had other plans too this weekend too. So I go, and later that afternoon, I was speaking with a dear friend who absolutely loves my home. And he's like, "I would be so happy to come to your home for a couple of days and dog sit and watch your dog." He loves my home. He calls this it's a retreat center. He's like, "I would love to be at your retreat center for a few days." I was like, wow, everything was just lighting up so easily. And so I said, okay, just let me think about it, for a night. Let me sleep on it. And my intuition speaks to me through excitement, through joy. If I feel joy and eager to do something, then that means that's my intuition wanting me to go somewhere and do something. And I'm very cognizant of that. So I woke up really feeling that pull to go again. So I sent the facilitators a message, "I'm coming tonight. I'll bring my money tonight." I didn't even pay. I didn't even send payment yet. So I show up, and this was a nice opening circle. There was a little intros and talking about the retreat, and then there was an opening circle. And I sat there and I kind of shared I don't know why I'm here. Like, I'm constantly doing personal development work. I'm spending all of my money on personal development workshops. It's very important for me. Yeah, I just prioritize personal growth. That's, I think, why we're on earth, to purify and to grow and to heal and all the things. So I prioritize that, and I go to many retreats, but I had no idea why I was so drawn to this, or kind of guided to this one. And but it was amongst women, and I really wanted to feel safe. I generally feel very safe with women. Um, and I really wanted to heal some wounds that had happened last year with women that were just so shocking to me. Like, I saw a different side of women that I've never seen before. I really feel safe in sisterhood and the natural. I think the natural essence of women is very loving and nurturing and caring and supportive, and I just wanted to re-feel that again. So I found myself at a women's retreat, and so I shared with the group. It's like, hey guys, I don't know why I'm here, but I had this intuitive guidance, and I always follow my intuition in my life. And so, there's always layers to heal, and I'm here just to kind of maybe heal another layer. I don't know. I have no idea why I'm here, but my intuition told me to come. I was like, okay. And part of the retreat was really like helping women really reconnect back to their intuition and have that confidence in their own inner wisdom. So as I'm there, and like a lot of the workshops were just gentle. Like, sometimes this was people's only first workshop, so the exercises were crazy. And for me, I've done a lot of these exercises before. They weren't like super out of my comfort zone. It was full of just love and nurturing and gentleness. And so I was there, and in the coming days, I realized, I think it's my grandma who sent me here. And for any of those of you who listened to my previous lives, my grandma passed away about a month ago, maybe, actually now 2 months ago. And I was extremely close with my grandma. Like me and my grandma were like this. Like, we are so close. And every morning, at this retreat, I was reading the book called Signs, and it's messages from those who have crossed over. And every morning I was like really brought to tears by the messages and the stories from this book. And it was like, wow, yeah. And I just knew, like, I have a close connection with my grandma. I'm very connected to my angels, and my intuition and my oversoul, and hopefully my grandma one day. I really wanted to be connected to my grandmother, and but I hadn't received any signs from her since her passing. And so in the coming days, I thought, yeah, I think she's the one who guided me here. So then the last day of the retreat, at lunchtime, for the first time ever, I decided to just get up and go for a walk by myself. And so I was walking along the road, just the gravel road, by myself, and I just started reflecting. I was like, I wonder when my grandma is going to, like, show me a sign. Because it was so interesting. Like, I was like, I don't want to bother her. She's on the other side hanging out with, like, grandpa and things. Like, I don't want to bother her. Like, this is my, like, ego. Yeah, I'm a Canadian girl. I was like, I don't want to bother her on the other side. I'll just wait till she settles into heaven. These are my thoughts. Like, I don't want to be a bother, And so I'm walking, and I'm like, I wonder when she's gonna show me a sign. And I know I'm going to know that it's her when she shows me a sign. And so I was just walking. I thought, I wonder what that sign's going to be. And I just had that brief thought. And then I look up, literally, I just had that one thought. I wonder what sign she's going to show me one day, I look up, I turn the corner of this gravel road, And in dead center, in the middle of this gravel road, is this huge female moose. And I was like really taken aback. Like, I don't see, like, moose, there are moose in Canada for sure, but I don't really often see them standing like in the middle of the road, just, anywhere. Like, that's pretty, it was kind of shocking to me. I was like, whoa, very unexpected. And I was looking at this moose. It was still pretty far away. And so I looked at this moose and I had no fear. And the moose looked super chill. And then the moose turned to me and we were facing each other, just staring at each other for like a few minutes. Just the moose turned towards me and looked at me. And I was like, Grandma, I know it's you. And then the moose, once I acknowledged, because it's important, I guess on the other side, from what I read on the books, from the other side, they need the sign to be acknowledged. They need to know that you understand their sign, because we don't know the signs. Signs can come through numbers, animals, whatever, I don't know. So like, Grandma, I know that it's you. And then the moose, after I said that, turned and then just slowly walked back into the forest. And I was just like, okay, that's wild. But I was like, Grandma, why would you send me a moose? Like, out of all things, like I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting ever a moose. And before I finished saying that, I heard literally in her voice, because I'm more clairaudient, and clairaudient is I hear messages. So it's different from my actual voice. It's because I tend to be a bit more like expressive and passionate, and my intuitive voice is very like calm or neutral. But from this voice, I heard my grandma's voice, and she said, "Because I grew up in Moose Jaw." And there's this town in Saskatchewan where I'm from called Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. And I went, oh my gosh, Grandma, you are brilliant. Like, that is brilliant. I just wouldn't have thought of that. Like, it's so obvious now that I tell you guys, like, it's so obvious. But when I was there, I was like, out of all beautiful creatures of the world, but it was a moose, which is still shocking. Like, it's still like, wow. And once I had that connection with her, I was really sensitive that weekend anyway. And I just sat by the river and just sobbed and cried and cried and cried. And I don't know why I was crying. It was more like I felt connected to her. I felt like I wasn't abandoned. She was still there for me. She'll never leave me. I was thinking about her a lot too, because the day after was her funeral. And I chose not to go to her funeral because I keep feeling, I know my connection with my grandma. And I also felt that my grandma's with me everywhere and anywhere. I don't necessarily need to be at her funeral to be connected with her. And so that was such a nice affirmation. Like, I didn't need to go to church because she was very religious when she was alive. I didn't need to go to her church to see her. My mom told me, she goes, yeah, JD, she goes, she came to your church, and my church is nature and being with the trees, like, I love what Oprah says. Oprah says, the trees are my apostles, like I feel so connected in nature. So Grandma came to me, my church, Yeah, my church is nature too. Yeah, well, yeah. So I just sat and cried and cried and cried. Like, I made that connection. And now I know that with my grandma, because I think someone earlier in another live was like, oh, did you and your grandma decide what sign you were going to do? And I didn't even want to tell my grandma, like, oh, Grandma, send me this. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be like, she'll send me a sign when she's ready, and I'm going to know when that's that sign. And this was the moment. And now we made that contact. Okay, for me, it's a moose. Maybe for other of her family members will be other contact or connections, but for me, it's moose. So now I'm open to those signs, and the moose can come to me in infinite ways. Now I log in, on my phone, and I'll see a picture of like a picture of Canada with a moose, or like I'll just see lots of other little synchronicities in my life about a moose. It could be like a moose on a shirt, a moose mural, a moose whatever. I don't actually need to see the physical animal to necessarily have that connection now to her. So that just like I was so kind of taken aback and really shaken about, wow, we are connected to the other side. And it was literally one thought, just one simple, hey, grandma, like, you know, yeah, are you there? You know, when are you going to show, when are you going to show up? When are you going to be there? And she, boom, immediately when I finally asked. And so I came back to the circle, and it was the last day of this 3-day retreat, and I didn't know what the afternoon was going to be. And the afternoon, it's all confidential, this retreat, but it was this huge, beautiful ritual about honoring our goddess self, the women, our sacred goddess self. And how can I explain this ritual? Yeah, just seeing our value, bringing ourselves back to seeing our own value. And I just was like crying the entire afternoon, going, of course, my grandma, in the saddest moment she's seen me, because I don't cry for half a day very often, but she saw me on one of the saddest days, and she was like, okay, I like, she got me to go to find out about this retreat and go, and it all just lined up so flawlessly. And the end of this day was all about really just honoring our value and self-love and loving ourselves deeper, which is a huge mission, I think, for humanity, is to learn to love ourselves deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, not looking for love outside of us, but knowing our own worth and our own value and not needing others to validate that. Or if someone doesn't see our value, it's like, okay, without trying to convince them, you don't see my value. It's okay. I see my value. That's what's important. And I want to be around people who see my value as well. So I went to this last day, and part of the ritual was, I don't know, this one grandmother just manifested on the last day. She was a grandmother of someone. She manifested on the last day, and she was like this enlightened. She was just like white hair, beautiful, just pure, emanating pure love. She was just like this enlightened being. Like, I was just like, who is this grandmother? And at the end of this ritual, this grandmother, I don't know, she doesn't know us. She just feels our energy and just channels like divine messages of like seeing our, because we're very connected to energy, even more than we think. So it's like you can stand in front of someone and have a very good read on them, more than what you think. So we were practicing this too in the workshop, on the retreat, and just channeling divine messages. And I got to her in front of this grandmother at the end of this ritual, and I hug her. And then I take her hands and I'm looking into her eyes, like just huge googly eyes, because she had the same green eyes as my grandmother, like the same eyes. I was just like starstruck, like, oh my gosh, this is my grandmother, channeling these divine, beautiful messages of just like pure love, like just seeing my value and acknowledging my depth and my beauty and my worth, and just things anyone wants to hear. But this grandmother said different things for every person on this retreat. It wasn't the same message. It was very specific messages. And yeah, and so I had this moment with this grandmother, literally feeling like she was channeling messages through this grandmother to me. And then I went back and I sat down and, the finished the rest of the retreat, and yeah, and the retreat was done, and now I have a whole network of sisters now. And but I thought, my gosh, just like, of course my grandma would send me to the most loving, like it was a retreat where there was 20 participants and 40 women volunteers to support the women. So for me, I'm a retreat facilitator, and I get burnt out. I get tired. I have to, walk my talk and resource myself and give myself self-care, like I'm telling everyone else to do. So I do that. I go and I do self-care, and so I was able to go to this place and just receive just this pure love and pure support from just a team of 40 women just there to support you. And I was like, of course my grandma sent me there. Of course she sent me there to just rekindle this love of sisterhood and women and the ancestors of women. We worked with our mothers. We worked on things with our mother. We worked on things, with grandmothers. We worked on things with our own inner child. We worked, just the ancestor of the female lineage. We worked a lot on. We worked on the different goddesses, what kind of goddess we can be. And it was just the most magical weekend. And yeah, and it was all because, again, I listened to that little intuitive message, and that's always every week when I come on here, I share those stories. Like it's the messages are so gentle and so subtle. And my life is quiet enough to hear those messages. And I jump when I hear those messages. I've learned in my life to not second guess, because only magical things happen. So, yeah, I'm so curious, your guys' takeaways, anything that you really picked out that you really enjoyed specifically from that story. I would love to see those in the comments. I would love to read any of your questions. This is more of a live open Q&A now. If you have anything you would like to share about that, I would love to speak more about that. So all of you who have joined, I just love this. Oh my gosh, I love seeing you got Austria, US, United States, New Zealand. I love this. Yeah, UK, India. Yeah. Yeah. Chelsea says, I loved hearing how you listen to the gentle whispers. Yeah. Yeah, it's just so gentle, you guys. It's so gentle. It was just like, go to this networking event and talk about and ask people, like talk about selling your company. And I was like, oh gosh. And for my intuition, it always comes as like oh, I never thought of that. And then I know it's not my mind. It's an intuitive message. And then when I feel, oh, that's a good idea, or, oh, that's edgy, I have to really it's like my intuition wants the best for me. And I still need to put in the effort. Like I'm very good at manifesting and receiving, and amazing things come to me. But I still have to put in the work. I still have to take the steps. So it's like, I'll put in the work. Okay. Like I'd much rather have a relaxing morning reading in bed with a coffee. That's my comfort zone. That's what my ego wants. But my intuition wants more for me. So it's like, I'll put on the dress. I'll do my hair. I'll put in the effort, and show up the best way I can, and see what happens. And just kind of going with like, I don't know what's supposed to happen, but I know I'm supposed to be here. That's pretty much how I live my life, really, more and more and more. Oh, so any other? Oh, yes, Chelsea. Yeah. And Chelsea says, I also found it interesting how you describe female relationships and sisterhood, because I feel the opposite, and I've always wanted to feel the way you described. Interesting, Chelsea. Maybe that's why I'm doing this live today, is for you, because what do you mean the opposite? Let's talk about that. Let's really talk about that. How have you felt the opposite with women? I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I would love to hear what you say. Not safe or nurtured by women. Yeah. Is this from mothers, grandmothers, or just women in general? Maybe at work, workplace? Yeah. Okay. Wow. Interesting. Yeah. So Chelsea says, yes, mom, aunts, and friends. Wow. That's what I'm learning, Chelsea, is what I'm noticing there's a lot of wounds with women, amongst women. Um, and I am not in the corporate world. I'm an entrepreneur, so I work for myself online, and in my reality, like I I only collaborate and work with other entrepreneurs and women like me. So, for example, other companies who do the same things that I do, um, we actually online support each other. It's like, oh, I'm looking for, this service. And we're like, oh, go with them or go with them. Or I've had one of my competitors, a team of women, they called me, once the woman called me, she goes, hey, JD, she goes, I know that you worked with this company in the past. She goes, I heard you worked with this company in the past. And, I want to offer a different service to them. Do I have your permission to contact them and offer this other service? Like, I don't want to be taking away any of your business. And I was like, oh no, like I worked with them 3 years ago. Like, no, we didn't even offer that service. Like, they're a great company. Like, you go call them and I hope they'll work with you. Like that's my reality. And, literally, like, I don't believe in this concept of even competition. It's collaboration. How can women, especially women entrepreneurs, come together and support one another in our projects? So I haven't ever experienced kind of like this climbing the corporate ladder. Yes, there's some hearts. Yeah, I haven't ever experienced this kind of climbing the corporate ladder and things like that. And I'm trying to see myself. Okay, what if I'm in a company when I really want this promotion and someone else gets it? Yeah, I'd probably feel hurt for sure. But deep down, I would work on myself and going like, well, I just want the best for others, and I would want them to be happy. And so, yeah, I would probably feel hurt and maybe I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know how I'd feel if I was in a corporate environment, for example. But I would work on myself to want the best for them too, and trust that would be the best. Regarding friends, it's interesting what you say about friends, because yeah, we can't choose our mom consciously. I believe we choose our parents and our family before we come to earth. That's just my belief system. But anyways, consciously right now in this conversation, let's say you cannot choose your mom and you cannot choose your aunts. So that sometimes is a bit harder to have boundaries, Chelsea. Like, I get it. It is work to have boundaries. A lot of people need to have work around boundaries around family members. But we can even maybe talk about mom and aunts later. But with friends, this is something you could easily, like, tell me some things with friends, because for me, I am very conscious of my friends. I consciously choose my friends. And if I have a friend, yeah, it's like we're adults, so we are actually in a place now to consciously choose our friends. As children, we didn't choose our friends. We just kind of were brought up and went to a school and people were there. But now as adults, we can consciously choose. And I think adults, like everyone I coach in my retreats, they all, one of their areas of their wellness wheel that they want to work on is the social connections and friendships. And as adults, they have a really hard time finding friends. And it's like, yeah, well, do you choose your friends? And people always giggle, like, no. It's like, but as an adult, you have now the sovereignty and the capacity to go and actually choose a friend. And so I'm very conscious of friends I choose. And I want only women to lift me up and support me and encourage me and be there for me. Like, I have one close girlfriend. She goes, "Oh, you have so much abundance of friends, JD." And I go, "Yeah, because I consciously choose these people and I consciously unfriend people. Like I consciously say, sorry, this friendship is no longer like congruent or working or it's like, it's probably better to not be friends anymore. Like I don't just necessarily ghost someone. I'll talk to them about it if it's not working anymore. But so with friends, you have the power, definitely. And there are many it's our nature. It's our actual nature. Like I think what maybe might help you. This is a really freeing concept. What, Kat? What is freeing? What concept is freeing? I know this one person I coached the other week. She goes, I go, "Oh, you can choose your friends. Like, go and choose who you want to be around." She goes, "Gee, this is like revolutionary." She's like, "This is life changing information." I was like, "Why? Like, it's so obvious." And she's like, "No, no, no, no." Like, she never even thought about actually consciously, like, you know, choosing her circle of friends, and who lights her up and who makes her happy. I would love to know what's the freeing concept, Kat. I'm so curious about that. Um, to be able to specifically choose as opposed to holding on to old connections that are no longer working. Exactly. Yes, you guys. Yes. Thank you. Very well said. Great summary. Yes. It's these talks that I do, it's all about taking your power back. Taking your power and not being a victim to life, making conscious choices every day. Every day I receive intuitive guidance. I can actively choose or not choose. I have actually a book about this, Kat, because I received this intuitive guidance once of go connect with that one woman. And 6 months later, I bought her house. And this is my dream home where I hold retreats. This is still like every day I take a picture of the sunset or somewhere. Like I'm still in awe and wonder of where I live 11 years later. And it was one little message of become friends with her. And if I think sometimes, what if I never listened to that one little quiet whisper? Where would I be living? What would I be doing? Would I be abundant? Would I be in a poverty mindset? So our intuition just wants the best for us. And so, yeah, but going back to sisterhood, I think it's our natural nature, our essence as women. And what's helped me a lot, Chelsea, was actually going to women's circles. So when I'm in heartbreak or in deep grief, I always feel that women know how to love. And I had a male friend recently, who said, "Well, JD, men know how to love too." And I was like, sure. I just haven't met that man yet. I'm not in a relationship with that man yet. I hope to be, because yes, he is right. And I processed that a lot. This retreat too was I have to change my perception that only women know how to love, because I'm sure there's countless men on earth who know how to love and nurture a woman as well, right? Oh my God, I love that. Oh, as soon as you mentioned your grandmother, a light bulb went off. My brother's name was JD, and he played the drums. Your background. I have a drum there on the basement and the floor. I have moved to the beat of your own drum. Maybe he's getting this message to me. Yes. Well, tell me about your brother. Is he alive? Is he passed over? I would love to I would love to know more about this, your brother, JD. That would be that is very coincidental and synchronistic. Is he alive? Has he crossed over? I'm going to wait for the answer because I want to, before I comment on that message. Oh, wow. He passed away 3 years ago. Mm, yeah. It's precious. Yeah. Well, he's definitely here. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Mm. It's really emotional. Yeah, he's definitely here. Wow. He's definitely here. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, now I feel pressure. Okay, JD, what do you want? What do you want Chelsea to know? Yeah, sisterhood. Love. Loving. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I have a message for you. I feel like I have some message I need to channel for you, Chelsea. Reach out to me privately if you want. I don't know. If send me an email, find my information. Actually anyone here. Actually anyone here. Find my website. Yeah, fine. That's powerful. Wow. Whew. Um, I have my profile. You can check out my website. You can anyone here, all of you who have joined, you can contact my email. I actually part of these lives other days. I don't know if you're new with me here, Chelsea. I do angel card readings just by donation. It's all by donation right now. And I'm happy to do angel card readings for you. I'm happy to talk about intuition with any of you. Like, really, this is an open, I can do introductory coaching sessions with anyone who wants to work on any area of their wellness wheel. Like, I don't even niche down because our intuition and wellness affects every aspect of our life. And so, please, he definitely guided you here to talk to me for some reason. And I don't know if I can give it justice in just this short time that we have together. But yeah, I'm here. I'm here. And if I can bring a message, but for me, it was deeply, deeply, deeply healing, Chelsea, to be among sisters and to being supported and loved by that many women again rekindled my confidence in sisterhood, in men, and myself. It like my whole confidence, just deep healing came about because last year I had some incidences with women um, that broke my trust, and just that breaking of trust rattled me on such a deep level of I started lacking confidence in women, I started lacking confidence in men, and I started lacking confidence in myself, and that's not good. You know, I need to live in, not I need to, but I want to live in confidence. I want to be confident and with myself. And so I worked a lot on inner confidence with myself. And, then I have these examples all around me. So, wow. Yeah. JD, that's amazing. JD brought you to JD. And I have all these drums, like a drum. And it's so funny. If you guys see that drum in the corner, I was going to move it. Actually, Chelsea, I was like, oh yeah, that's, I don't know if that should be there. And I went, well, I'm going to just leave it. People will see the drum. It's okay. And so I really had that thought with the drum. So yeah, I just love this. I love this platform. I love that all of us are joining from around the world. Um, there is no space and time on, like, you're a perfect example, Chelsea. Out of all the people live right now, you chose to join into my live. You intuitively felt that message. That day when I went for a walk, it was a simple walk. I'm just going to go get a walk and get some fresh air before the afternoon activity. I'm just going to go feel some sun for 10 minutes. And it ended up being one of the most powerful moments that I've had in a very long time. And that connection to the other side. There is, I was speaking with my friend last week and about death because I love this topic. I just think it's the greatest thing. I think death is a promotion. Yeah, being a human is great. It's awesome. And the other side, I think, is way fun, probably way more fun than being on earth and dealing with life. And I was speaking to my friend about death, one of my favorite topics. And and he had to go to the emergency unexpectedly, and he was seeing people just like I don't know. He had a moment of like at the hospital seeing death. Like, oh, how did that make you feel? Did that kind of think about your own, your own death? And he's like, I'm not worried about death. I just think it's it's just a little transformation, from the human form to the energetic form. We're all energy anyways. So he wasn't really phased by it, um, but it's still sad. I can't imagine losing my sister. I would be absolutely devastated. I'm very attached to her in the human form, and I tell her all the time, like, you cannot die, even though I think death is great. And she would probably be with me even more because she lives so far away. Like, even if she passed over, I'm sure she'd be with me even more. But I'm very attached to her in the human form still. And but they're never far away, Chelsea. Like, literally, you can literally just say, hey, brother, like, be with me. And he's clearly there. He brought you here to share this, to meet me. So thank you so much. That was just the most profound story, Chelsea. So powerful. Wow, so many of you have joined. I love this. We were talking about, oh my gosh, I just want to welcome everyone who's joined from Florida, Vancouver, London, Ohio. Wow, Mexico, Washington, upstate New York. Wow, I love that. Wow, Redwood City, Southern California. Wow, I love all these hearts. Today we were speaking about some stories about just following our intuition. Well, my intuition. I had some really fun stories and also signs from my grandmother who had crossed over. We have a brother who has crossed over, who's with us today too, JD. And anyone who's missed that story, please go back and watch the recording because this is so powerful. Yeah, thank you for all of you who this is your first time here. I do these lives whenever I can. Oh, so many first time. Just join. Well, please follow me, you guys. I don't necessarily know when I do the next live. I follow my intuition about that and when I'm available. So the nicest things you can do is, of course, support me through a donation if you feel called to. But I really would love for you guys to follow. If you like any of the lives, to write a nice review. I encourage you to reach out to me to my email if you want. I do these angel card readings just by donation right now. Oh, followed. Amazing. Yeah. Bonjour. Bonjour, P. Oui, je comprends le français aussi, so you can write to me in French, and I understand Spanish, but my readings will be in English for the time being. Yes, yeah, check out my profile, you guys, and yeah, well, there's so many of you guys who have joined. I don't want to log off now, but yeah, if you have any questions at all, let me know. Or any other stories or any other takeaways from the stories that especially Chelsea and I have shared today. What were some takeaways? What were kind of the highlights of this live for you in the last 5 minutes or so? I would love to just connect with what you guys and some of your aha moments. Yeah, so I had some really cool stories today. Those of you who, yeah, my gosh, there's so many who have joined now. You guys missed, you guys. You guys missed the craziest stories. You have to go back and watch this. You have to really go back and watch the recording. I'm going to upload these also. I upload these videos to YouTube, so you can find them on YouTube under Intuitive Business Connections. I have a podcast called The Dawn of Intuition, Awaken to a New Way of Being. So really, you can listen to all of these lives on there as well. Yeah, this was great. Holy moly. Thanks, JD. That was powerful. That was super powerful. And the book that I'm reading this week, last week was Signs. This week it's all about channeling. And so yeah, it's already coming through. JD's already, people are already bringing people here to hear some message that they need. So this is this is definitely one of my callings. And this is, I'm a coach. I'm an intuition empowerment business coach. And that's what I share with people. What would you do for free? I always coach people. Write everything you would do for free. What would you do for free? And then charge money for it. So for me, I'm on here free. This is just a free hour, just me talking. I could be doing other things, but I want to do this for free. And so it's like, okay, if I would do this as a volunteer every day, then it'd be great if I could. This might be a nice message of what I should be doing as my livelihood, So, yeah. Yeah, exactly. B says, in an interview with Keanu Reeves, he was asked, what happens when we die? And his answer was, the ones that love us will miss us. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The other side, they're happy, I imagine. They're in pure oneness. And that's my belief. Oneness consciousness and a very high vibrational place of pure love. And so not trapped in all the ego. Yeah. 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 But they're there. They're always there for us. Yeah. Just one thought away, one question away, but we also, as humans in this lifetime, we have free will. So the chapter I'm reading now, which I already know, but it's a nice reminder, is we are not allowed, angels and our guides and our spirit team are never allowed to interfere into our life if we don't ask. So we need to ask permission. That's very, very important. Because we have free will, and if we don't want to be channels, if we don't want connection to the other side, if we don't want to listen to our intuition, we have free will to cut all of that off, and we have to consciously. And it's not a lot of work. When I was walking down the road, it was like, hey, Grams, I'm curious what sign you'll send me. That was the easy thought I had, and then boom, that created the permission to manifest her in a moose form. Yeah, so we have to ask permission too. So yeah, any other takeaways before wow, almost 100 of you who joined in. Yeah, you guys, please follow me. Please, wow, almost 100 of you. Yep, I have. Yep, my podcast, my YouTube, my profile page on Insight Timer. Follow, message me if you want any to learn more about me or to be in contact, and I'm happy to give you guys a reading. Join me for another day when we will be talking about open Q&As, or I may have some other crazy intuitive stories for you. I don't know. I just one of the messages I got last weekend was the joy is in the present moment. The joy is in the present moment. One of the first exercises that weekend, we had sat outside and they were trying to help us learn to touch back into our emotions. And I'm okay with that. I can cry when I need to, and but a lot of people have cut that from that. They've cut their connection to emotion. So we were encouraged to go to nature and just feel emotions and let our emotions, bubble up. So I went and sat by the river because I wanted to. The river is a great example of letting go and flow. And, I'm always talking to you guys about stop trying to swim upriver. Just let yourself flow down the river, right? So I'm sitting by the river and watching it, just beautiful. And then I had a moment where I touched into some sadness of the past, of grief, heartbreak in the past. And I touched a moment, and the moment I touched these tears and the sadness, there was this huge water drop, a raindrop that fell just on my crown chakra, just boom. And I was wearing my jacket, and it hit my jacket, and it I rarely have the hood on my jacket. And so it just kind of reverberated, it just kind of hit, it was almost loud, I could hear the raindrop. So this huge raindrop fell, and I just opened my eyes. It shocked me back into the present moment, and I received this intuitive message. I had this raindrop, and I received be open to the beauty of the present moment, because my eyes were closed and I was in this pain and heartbreak. And there was boom, be open to the beauty of the present moment. And it was just stunning. Where I was this magical forest with a stunning or a stunning river flowing by, little creek and anytime I closed my eyes or I started to have a thought in the past that brought me into pain, boom, I had another water raindrop fall on me and bring me back into the present moment. And that was a big message for me this weekend, consistently over and over, was the joy in life is in the present moment. The joy in life is in the present moment. We don't need to be stuck in sadness in the past. There's so much beauty happening in this present moment. So be open to that. So yeah, that's, I think, my main stories and messages for today, 11/11. I think this is a good time for me to end. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I look forward to you seeing hopefully all of you next live. Bye for now.